For this kitchen remodel, we decided to keep the current kitchen cabinets. They were well made, and the lower cabinets actually had a beautiful slab of granite on top that we definitely did not have in our budget to replace. So we were going to work with the cabinets. The problem was they were dark and the cabinet doors were outdated. So we are replacing cabinet doors and painting, refinishing these cabinets to give them a bright, clean look. Now, when we started the demo, we were going to be removing a few of the kitchen cabinets, and we discovered that the soffit of these kitchen cabinets was actually 1/4-inch plywood laid over the top of the cabinets that did go to the ceiling. Okay, when we started taking out these cabinets, the other cabinets, we noticed that the soffit was actually just a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. So it's a faux soffit, which is awesome because we're still gonna be able to use these cabinets. We're gonna pop off these face frames and put a new face frame that goes all the way to the ceiling. And now we're gonna have full extension cabinets with like no cost. So this was like a super awesome surprise. Also discovered that the hinges that were attaching the old cabinet doors actually were notched into the face frames. For the uppers, because we're just replacing face frames, it was really easy. We created new face frames without these notches. And for the lower ones, we had to get a little creative. So I was able to use my jigsaw to cut out the notched areas and insert a piece of poplar, which is the same material I'm using to make the upper face frames and the new cabinet doors, into it. And with a little putty and sand and smooth, they completely disappeared when we got to painting. The most important part of refinishing kitchen cabinets is the prep work. You want to make sure that your new paint can hold up to the immense amounts of use that kitchen cabinets get. So we took extra time during the prep to make sure that we had a good clean finish. So we started by sanding and sanded down all of the old surface. Now the primer we're using is a bonding primer, which says it does not require it. But even without that, to make sure that the surface of your existing cabinets is just roughed up is gonna make even a bonding primer bond even better. So then we rolled on and used a brush to cover the entire cabinets in the bonding primer. And to roll those on, it did take a little more time, but it was a really thick primer, and so it was worth using the painting by hand to not have to worry about massive drips. Then it was time for paint, and to really make the paint go super smooth, I grabbed my Home Right Finish Max sprayer and was able to spray it on. I was able to get 2 coats on all of the existing cabinetry and 1 coat on the new kitchen island and bar that were built with the sprayer in 1 day. We also painted the first coat on the new face frames for the upper cabinets while they were not attached. We got those primed and 1 coat of painting on, and then we attached them before doing the second coat. Now, having the face frames not attached actually makes it a lot easier to get inside of the cabinets when you're painting, where if the face frames are attached, it's a little trickier. You kind of have to spray it at yourself. So that's why for the uppers, we chose to do it this way, and we got all of the upper cabinets face frames added, then filled all the holes, and then added the final second coat to them, and they look amazing. All of the new cabinets also got a second coat and installed, and now the kitchen is really coming together. Now we used, like I said, we used a Valspar bonding primer, and we also chose to use the cabinet enamel paint. And the cabinet enamel is really great because it will harden more than a regular paint without having to do a second coating of a sealer such as polyacrylic or polyurethane on top of it. So we'll see how this does over time and how it holds up to the daily use of a kitchen. And you may notice that the upper cabinet face frames have a little bit of a gap on the top. I made the stiles go all the way to the top of the cabinet, and then I dropped the rails down a little bit. This is to allow us to add a crown molding around the top. I could have done a thicker rail on the top, but to save a little bit of money, and I used the smaller piece of wood and just dropped it down with a little bit of a gap. So we need to still add our crown molding to this, and then the last step of updating these kitchen cabinets is going to be to add new cabinet doors. We're going to be doing a shaker style door and build them the same way I built the cabinet doors in our current kitchen. And you can check that out. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. And the new cabinet doors with the new light gray paint has really updated this kitchen, and it looks brand new as well as much brighter and more modern than the dark, dated kitchen from before.